This is Financially Fit Business with Ruth King.
Welcome to the Financially Fit Business Podcast. Here you discover ideas, tactics, news, and information that matters to the health of your business or your clients' businesses. I'm your host, Ruth King. Here's how we will help you increase the financial fitness of your business today. Financial advisory services. It has been pushed and shoved and told everybody that you have to get into financial advisory services. It's the wave of the future, and there's been a lot of resistance to it over the years. So I'm going to start a 5-part podcast on financial advisory services. And this is session 1, the ideal advisory client. I want you to see how easy it is to do this. If you need help with the understanding of what the trend analysis means, I've got a NASBA course that teaches that to you in a day. And you can also get it online at Financially Fit Business. So let's get started. The thing about advisory services is that you basically can eliminate billable hours. And what do I mean by that? Well, most CPAs charge by the hour. And if you could give them a flat fee, not only for advisory services, but providing all of your services, then you're in a situation where you get the same amount of revenue in the door every single month from these clients. And I'm not saying audits. I'm not saying things along the lines that are out of the ordinary. I'm talking about bookkeeping. I'm talking about review of financial statements and advisory services and things that can be, for all intents and purposes, standardized with respect to the process, not necessarily with respect to the individual numbers and things along those lines, but the process can be standardized. So if you can do this, number one, there's a lot less stress on you. The clients, again, aren't afraid to call you. I can't tell you how many times that I've spoken to some of my clients who won't talk to their CPAs because they don't want to get billed for a 5 or 10-minute phone call. And then it costs them a whole lot more on the back end. But imagine if you put an hour a month into the package, so to speak, for them to be able to call you, and then they're not afraid to call you. Then you can handle the work that they need to get done. And you're in a situation where everybody wins. So the other thing that happens a lot of times is they're not going to question your bills. They're not going to say, well, we were only on the phone for 15 minutes. I tracked it and you charged me for a half an hour. Or why did you charge me so much for doing my taxes? They don't call you with those very, very uncomfortable type questions. And the thing that you also will be doing is providing more value to them. And they'll learn to really trust you. They'll learn to really rely on you. And they'll probably refer you a whole lot more too. And then for you, you have more consistent cash flow and happier team members with less pressure on them too. I was in a session at Women Who Count last October, and one of the keynote presenters did almost everything with flat fees, and they didn't do audits. And they paid their employees on a flat fee basis too. And all of the people who were around me said, I want to go work for her, because they're not being charged. They're not being judged. They're not being, for all intents and purposes, managed based on how many billable hours they produce. There's a lot of pressure on them to produce billable hours. And if you can take away that pressure, they can do their job better too. So is this actually possible? Well, yeah, it actually is possible. I've been doing it for years in the construction industry. If you've ever been in a situation where you have a maintenance plan, that's for all intents and purposes what you're doing with advisory services. Customers know exactly what they're paying for a repair. So think about it. Last time you had a plumber or an HVAC technician or an electrician or somebody come to your home, more than likely they figured out what the problem was and they said, Mrs. Jones, the issue is this. To repair it or fix the issue or something along those lines, it's going to be X dollars. And it's a flat fee. And you can say yes, and you can say no. And at that point, you're in a situation where you know exactly what you're going to be paying, and they know exactly what they're going to be doing, and there's no time pressure. If it takes them an hour, if it takes them 6 hours, you're paying exactly the same things. Now, we don't want it taking 6 hours, and they don't want it taking 6 hours. The likelihood is it's not going to take 6 hours. I was exaggerating a little bit there. But you know exactly what you're going to be paying for a particular repair, and there's no surprises. And then employees can get paid for production rather than billable hours. It might decrease a whole lot of stress in your office. Now, we're heading up to tax season. So you're probably going, I'll deal with this after tax season. Well, deal with it after tax season or review these podcasts after tax season, because for right now, you're going to be focusing on getting taxes done. However, imagine the situation where you have a client and you do all of their payroll and you do you can outsource their payroll, but you're responsible for, putting it into the financial statements. You do their bookkeeping, you do the review every single month. It will take you almost no time to do their taxes because you know them. And as a result, there's less of the pressure between January and April 15th to get everything done. So think about it from that perspective. That's what advisory services is all about. It can be one monthly fee. Customers know exactly what they're getting. There are no surprise bills. And that's it. That's really and truly what advisory services is all about. And the best part of all of it is that they learn to trust you, rely on you, and you can feel really good about helping them grow their businesses profitably. When we get back, we'll get into who would be your ideal advisory clients. Thanks for watching the Financially Fit Business Podcast. We'll be right back.
Financial advisory services are the key to the longevity of the accounting profession. If you want to get started providing advisory services or want a review of a finance course you took in college, Ruth King's manual, Understanding Financial Trends Analysis, might be your first step. This manual gives you the information you need to help your clients with their financial statements. A great start or addition to your financial advisory practice. You help them with clarity on their business's financial health, the ability to spot impending issues and resolve them before they become a major crisis. Less stress and sleepless nights worrying about the financial part of their business. Your Financial Statement Trends Analysis Manual is the reference guide. What do you want in your financial advisory services practice? Click on the link below for more information and to order.
We're back. Thanks for listening to the Financially Fit Business Podcast. Before the break, I gave you the overview about why financial advisory services. And a couple more things. Number one, it gives you a great opportunity to retain your clients. In a lot of the surveys that I've seen, there was a LinkedIn survey that was done that 25% of your client base is move every single year on average. So that means you have to replace 25% of your clients every single year. It would be fun not to have to do that. The next thing that was in that survey was a reason to talk to you more than once or twice a year. They complained the fact that they only talk to their CPA once or twice a year, or got a surprise phone call that says, your tax bill is $10,222 and you give that to them on April 14th. That's not a good way to keep a client. So when you do the financial advisory services and you review financial statements every single month, you give them a reason to talk with you more than once or twice a year. You're also providing much more value to them so they do become great clients and referral sources for you. And probably most important, it's not dependent upon billable hours. You set the price for monthly reviews. There's no surprise bills for your clients. And you can help them spot impending issues such as profitability, such as productivity, such as cash flow, collections issues, so they can take care of them before they become major crises. Okay, so who is the ideal financial, who is the ideal financial advisory service client? First, I'm going to give you the types of clients not to waste your time with, okay? So, number one is business owners who operate their business from their checkbooks. They don't care. All they care about is that they have enough cash in the bank to, pay their bills, do what they want, and that type of thing. Occasionally, probably more so than occasionally, they will get bit in the butt because they're only paying attention to their checkbook. They're not paying attention to profitability. And one day they will run out of cash, a lot of them. And it's like, okay, what do I need to do? And then they'll start paying attention. But in the beginning, these are not the business owners you want to pay attention to for financial advisory services. Number two is business owners who never ask you questions. So you know these types, and you're probably frustrated with them. They're the ones who you send them their P&Ls and balance sheet every month. They may look at the P&L bottom line and go, oh, I made a profit or I didn't. Throw the financial statements in the drawer and never look at them again. If they're really and truly interested in their business and growing their business, they're going to look at the financial statements and probably have some questions for you. Number three, business owners on a cash basis accounting system. Now, this can be somewhat controversial, but my philosophy is that businesses who have accounts receivable, accounts payable, inventory must operate their businesses on an accrual basis. If you choose to do their taxes on a cash basis, that's just fine. However, in order for them to truly understand and know what their gross margins are and know whether they're profitable, it really needs to be done on a cash basis. With the exclusion of restaurants, probably, and other businesses that are basically COD for revenue coming in the door and expenses going out the door for the most part. But for most business owners, they need to be on an accrual accounting system. And of course, the business owners who just don't care. And you know who they are, they look at your taxes and they go, okay, fine, pay their taxes. And that's absolutely it. So let's look at the ideal advisory client. Preferably you're doing their bookkeeping and sending them monthly reports. This way you're keeping track and you're seeing what's going on with their business on a monthly basis. Or you're working with a bookkeeper who is in their company and they send you the financial statements every single month to look at. Or you might review their internally prepared financial statements on a quarterly basis, or preferably if you can do it on a monthly basis, because that's where you really get to look at the trends and where you actually get to look at the graphs. That will really truly help them understand their business financial health. So those are the two things, and probably business owners who ask questions. If they look at your P&L and balance sheet that you send them and they start asking questions about it, they're interested, they're curious. And these are people who are good potential advisory service clients and business owners who want to grow profitably. Obviously, business owners who want to grow generally pay attention to their financial statements. Not always, but as a general rule, they don't just look at their checkbook. They obviously want to know how much cash they have in the bank, but they also want to be able to grow their businesses profitably. So they're looking at the bottom line too. And obviously, the business owners on an accrual accounting system and will stay on an accrual accounting system for operations, not for taxes. And these are the people who care. They are the ones who actually look at what you prepare, ask questions. They're likely to be interested in seeing what their financial health is rather than just looking at numbers. I find it interesting because most business owners are not numbers driven as it relates to financial statements. Most business owners really would prefer to look at the graphs. They generally look at a P&L and a balance sheet. They may look at month to date and year to date and ask questions about it, but they don't remember the trends. And it's really important to have them look at the trends so that they can make sure that the business financially is trending in the right direction. So that's your ideal client. So what I suggest you do, I'm sure as we were going through the ideal client criteria, you probably had a few people in mind who might be ideal advisory clients for you. Now, you may want to do it now since it's still, in January, or you may want to leave it until after April 15th. But make a list of 3 or more clients who probably are good candidates for your financial advisory services. If you want to talk to them now, that's fine. If you want to wait until tax season is over, that's fine too. Just put it in a file somewhere that you can get grab it after tax season is over. So think about it. There are probably a couple people who can use the financial advisory services and probably would help you eliminate billable hours for them. So thank you for joining us. Choose one thing that you discovered and implement it in your business. These ideas, tactics, and strategies help you make more money, have more free time, and give back. If you like today's program, spread the word. Please review this podcast on any device you're listening to it on. Help a business owner improve the health of his company. For comments or questions, call me at 770-729-8000 or email rking@financiallyfit.business. Thanks for listening. Have a great and profitable day.